have business development. You're a government agency, and you're a nonprofit. Okay, so every penny that we make, everything that we make, actually goes back to the 440 municipalities in Ontario. So we don't take a single cent. It actually helps reduce overall property tax, right? If City of Mississauga, City of Brampton, if they have an emergency, right, they will take from whatever we earn instead of raising property tax for taxpayers. Now, a little bit about myself. I've been doing real estate valuation close to 7 years now. I used to be an appraiser in Calgary, and I joined Mpac in 2015 to value commercial and industrial property. But anyways, enough about Mpac, enough about me. Let's talk about everybody here. Why are we here today? We're all here because we decided to make an investment in ourselves. And the greatest investment we can make is in ourselves, said Warren Buffett. Okay? Why do we need to invest in ourselves? All right, I'll give you a few interesting statistics. The GTA accounts for approximately 18% of the overall Canadian population. Okay? Guess what the percentage of Canadian realtors live in the GTA? Take a wild guess. 60%. Okay, so 18% of the overall population accounts for 42% of the overall realtor population. So if you think about it, the density is higher than any other city, I think including Vancouver in Canada. So that's quite amazing. So lots of competition, right? And this is why we're all here. We want to invest in ourselves. We take seminars, we're taking courses. We want to know more about the products and get more clients, get more sales, because we want to have more tools and more knowledge. And we're going to help you with that today. So let's talk about what we're going to learn today. We're going to talk about the basics of assessment, what you need to learn as realtors to serve your clients, okay? How to calculate property tax. Seems very simple, but so many people get it wrong, okay? We're going to learn how to obtain the square footage for a house. I'm going to show you how to fully utilize some really fantastic and amazing tools that's already available to everybody in this room. In fact, everybody is already paying for this tool. If you're not using it to its max potential, you're losing out. Okay, I'm going to show you how to leverage some powerful Mpac real estate tools for your benefit. Let's talk about the Ontario assessment system. How many people own a property here?
100%.
Okay, 100%. All right, cool. Maybe I should leave now. So Ontario assessment system, we have the provincial government, we have the municipal government, right? We have the assessment review board, and then we have Mpac. And of course, we have the taxpayers as well. Excuse me. So the provincial government, they're the ones who pass the tax policies, and they set the legislation. So Mpac Act, Assessment Act, these are set by the provincial government. Now, the municipal government, right, the municipalities, they're the ones who determine what the budget is, right? They set the tax rate, and they're the ones who actually collect the tax. So if you have a client that has, how much tax do I owe to the city? Can I pay in increments, right? These are 311 questions called the City of Toronto. This is not an Mpac question, okay? And of course, we have taxpayers who pays for the, helps with the budget. City of Toronto just released their 2019 budget. Guess how much it costs to run the City of Toronto for 2019? $13.47 billion, okay? And almost half of that comes from property tax, okay? So that's quite a bit of money. And then you have the Assessment Review Board. If you're not happy with Mpac's assessment, what can you do? You can go to the Assessment Review Board, third-party independent tribunal. It's like going to traffic court. If anybody's gone to traffic court, you have to take some time off of work, and it costs money, and it's a little, it's kind of stressful and time-consuming. I'll show you a much better way to deal with any issues you might have with Mpac about your property or client's property. Okay, and finally, you have Mpac. Who are we? Well, we are a government agency, provincial level government agency, independent, non-profit. We have about 30 offices across the GTA. If you've seen if you go 401 going east, you'll see in Pickering, our giant sign, that's our headquarters. We have Toronto office, Mississauga office as well. We have about 1,800 employees at the moment. And our job is to accurately assess and classify more than 5.2 million properties in Ontario. So that number right now, as of this year, is closer to 5.5, 5.6. We respond to inquiries from taxpayers such as yourselves and from different municipalities. We also do some, we provide some other products such as list of electors, jury duty list, population reports, okay? So let's look at this slide, really interesting. So as of January 1st, 2016, which is actually the last assessment date, right? The entirety, the 5.5 million properties in Ontario combined together is worth $2.59 trillion in assessed value, okay? This includes vacant land as well, okay? So of the 5.5, you can see 4.7 million residential, right? 223,000 farm, 157,000 commercial. We have almost 80,000 industrial properties, 47,000 special or exempt property. What's a special or exempt property? Churches, schools, government buildings, Pearson Airport, okay? Multi-res, 16,000 multi-res. Now, you have to understand the way Mpac classifies multi-res is 7 or more independent units under one dwelling with one ownership, okay? If you have clients that have a 6-plex, 5-plex, 4-plex, on the market, they're absolutely bought and sold as multi-res, no doubt, right? But just for simplicity, because we have too many properties, we list them, we give them a different code, and it has to be everything 7 or more, okay? Let's look at this. So how long does it take to add a new property? For a business property, like say a building like this, about 12 months, okay, from the time we get a permit. 6 months for a new residential detached or a house, and for condominiums, it's about 9 months. For the 5.5 million properties, how do we actually value these? Okay, so we take the 3 approaches to value. Okay, the first one, everybody in this room should be very familiar with, is called the direct comparison approach or the sales approach. What are you doing for your CMAs? You're taking recent sales of similar properties and you're within the neighborhood, and you're making up and down adjustments, right? Income approach. Anything bought and sold for its significant income generation ability. So apartment buildings, office buildings, shopping centers, right? These are based on the valued on the income approach. Now we have the cost approach, okay? Cost approach is really good approach to value because sometimes you can use these other two approaches to get a value. So for example, Canada's Wonderland, Pearson Airport, Fort Plan in Oakville, right? Large marinas, you can't value these based on the first two. So what we do is we take the value of the land, and then we add how much it costs to add a brand new building, and then we subtract depreciation, okay? So we back up all of our residential data with the cost approach. Let's look at this next slide. Really, speaking of residential, let's just take a moment to look. It's really interesting. So what we do at Mpac is we have mass appraisal, right? We're valuing 5 million, close to 6 million properties. And we do something called we use a tool called the multiple regression analysis, okay? So it's a line with a bunch of dots, right? And then we draw a line through it, if you've seen that chart. So in that system, we have almost 200 variables, okay, that we look at. But 5 variables, 5 major factors account for approximately 85% of all residential property value. What are they? Quality of construction, age of property, living area, lot dimension and size, and location. So let's talk about each one of these. Quality of construction. So internally, Mpac has a 1 to 10 system. 1 may be an ice fishing shed with no plumbing, no foundation. 2 might be like a low quality modular home, right? 10 would be the best homes in Rosedale. Lakefront Oakville, Bridle Path homes, some of the best homes you'll ever see in your life. What does this mean outside of Mpac? It could mean the degree of architectural detail, amount of customizations, materials used, renovations done, okay? Age of property, self-explanatory. If we're comparing apples to apples, you pay more for a newer property because of less depreciation, right? Living area, same thing. Apples to apples, you gotta pay for a bigger apple, more for a bigger apple, right? So more square footage, you're paying obviously more. Very simple idea. Lot dimension and size. This affects value quite a bit. First of all, if we have like say a large irregular shaped lot versus a large rectangular lot with a good frontage, right? The value, first of all, is in the frontage, right? There's a lot of money for frontage, especially in places like Rosedale or Lakefront Oakville. They'll pay more, clients are willing to pay more percentage-wise than, say, compared to an average neighborhood in Markham, Scarborough, and Mississauga, right? Because it's very prestigious to have that extra frontage, right? If you're on Lakefront Oakville, yeah, that's worth a lot of money, right? Also, if you have that huge frontage, you can subdivide as well if it's good shape, right? You can subdivide, there's subdivide potential, so development value, and also, if you have a large rectangular, so irregular shaped lot, right? Let's say 6,000 square feet, and then you have a 5,000 square feet lot, but it's perfectly rectangular. Because it's rectangular, you can fully utilize the entire 5,000 square feet because it's of the shape. Whereas the irregular shaped lot, because of the curves and cuts, you can't utilize the entire 6,000 square feet. So that's lot dimension actually has some value for sure. And finally, we have location. What can we say about location? Location, 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 right? It's probably the most, the number one determinant of real estate value, right? Not just in Toronto, but globally, right? Where your kids go to school, who your neighbors are, what kind of views do you have, how close you are to the TTC, 404, 401, shopping, dining, right? Everything is dependent on location. It will vary neighborhood to neighborhood, the value, but percentage-wise, I believe it is the highest of every variable. Now, let's talk about the next topic. This topic is, I guess it's a highly debated topic, right? How does Mpac measure a house? Now, I just have a question for everybody. Has anybody heard of BOMA? BOMA. Okay, so if you do anything commercial related, you probably know BOMA. And BOMA standards, BOMA measurement standards, are seen as the gold standard for commercial and industrial measurement, right? You'll see, if you ever have any commercial clients, you'll see BOMA 2010, BOMA 2015 measurement standards. Unfortunately, for residential measurement, real estate, there's no such standard, right? Different builders will have different ways of measuring. Different realtors will measure differently. Different appraisers will measure differently, right? Mpac, we have our own standard, and this is derived from the international assessment jurisdictions, right? From the IAAO, as well as from the Appraisal Institute of Canada. It's similar to what I used to do as an appraiser with a few differences, okay? So first of all, we take the exterior measurements, okay? Exterior measurements of the house. And if you have an attached garage, we'll measure the garage and we'll take that off from the total square footage. Now, when I say square footage, let's not confuse square footage versus living area, okay? Living area includes the basement. Square footage is everything above grade, okay? So our square footage excludes the basement, excludes the attached garage, okay? Basement, we do give it a value. If you have a finished versus unfinished, it's worth more. If you have a finished versus a finish with walkout, walkout is obviously worth more. We do give it a value, but it does not count towards the total square footage. And because I know a lot of builders will put overall living space, right? So that's a little, I won't say misleading, but you just gotta know the difference, right? Now, since we're doing the exterior measurements, if you have like a open and above, right? If you have an open and above, right, with the stairs, or if you have a cathedral ceiling, okay? Guess what happens to those spaces? It actually gets added as an imaginary floor, okay? So if you have cathedral ceiling, we're gonna add an imaginary floor or the board there, and it counts as square footage. So that might be one of the biggest things with exterior measurements, okay? So full exterior wall height, we have about, it's 6 feet. 4 feet if it's partial story. It's 4 feet knee wall to the next 4 feet knee wall. Anything before that, it does not count. Okay. So let's talk about, any questions before I move on? Okay. So let's talk about the Ontario assessment cycle, okay? It's if you're a homeowner, you should know this because before we're on January 1st, 2008, January 1st, 2012, January 1st, 2016. These are the assessment cycles. This is when we revalue everything. But recently we made a change. Instead of being January 1st, 2020, we actually switched it to 2019. Okay? This valuation is going to be for the tax years of 21, 22, 23, and 24. Now, you need to know this as homeowners because you want to know where your taxes are. Also, as realtors, if you want to calculate property tax, right? The formula is you find the phase-in year, the phase-in value, okay? Not the assessed value. Say your assessed value was, let's say your assessed value, I don't have it here, but I'll show you later. But your assessed value is what you're given, like say $1 million, right? Your phase-in value is whatever year you're in. So right now we're in 2019. Keep thinking we're still in 2018. Time goes by really fast. So in 2019, I find whatever the phase-in value for 2019, and then I Google City of Toronto property tax rate, multiply by 2, multiply the two together, and then you get your property tax, right? So you have to get the phase-in value. But how do you get the phase-in value? You take your current assessed value, so let's just say 600,000, right? You minus the previous assessed value of 500,000, and what's the difference? 100,000. Then you take that 100,000, you divide it by 4, and then you add it to the future years of 17, 18, 19, and 20. I'll be honest, it's a little confusing. So even assessors will make mistakes sometimes doing this formula because some of the numbers are not as pretty as what I gave you. So I'll show you a much better way, fast, simple, accurate, and very easy to get the phase-in value. And all you have to do is find a tax rate, and then you get your property tax. You can do it on your phone, really simple. You won't make mistakes at all, okay? Now, finally, we have, something called the request for reconsideration. What is this? Well, instead of going to, if you don't agree with Mpac, right? Instead of going to the assessment review board, you're paying money, you're taking time, it's a little stressful. You can do this. This thing is for free. You can go to mpac.ca, fill out a request for reconsideration form. Tell us the reason why you think your assessment is wrong. For example, hey, you over measured my house by 300 square feet. I don't have a finished basement or a walkout, right? I don't have a detached, or there's a negative influence or in the back of my house, or I'm on a traffic artery. These are real reasons, along with any documents you might be able to give us. Okay, what's a bad reason? Well, the most common one is my taxes are too high. Like giving us that is like calling the CRA saying, hey, my income tax is too high. What do you think the CRA is going to do at this time, right? They're not going to do anything. So give us real reasons why, or my assessment is too high, my tax is too high. These are not real reasons. Give us actual logical reasons, and we will take a look in detail. Anyways, I'm going to go on to some reports Mpac offers in the real store. Questions before I move on? Okay, so in the real store, we have about 22 reports in total. Okay, I'm going to show you 3. These 3 reports are, I would say 98% of all purchases done by realtors are based off of these 3 reports. Okay, first one, everybody should know, it's the square footage, right? Square footage report, what does it give you? It gives you a pretty picture and a square footage. Okay, why do you need this? Well, 1, your client is asking for square footage. 2, we would like to call this a risk mitigation tool. So I met about 8,500 realtors last year across 11 different boards, and one of the most common legal issues, right, is square footage, right? One of the most common ones, amongst other things, of course. And with this thing, you get the square footage, you measure based off of Mpac's standards, right, the exterior measurements, and then you show it to the homeowner or the buyer, show it to different parties. In terms of due diligence, right, that's quite a bit. And if you ever go to a court for square footage issues, they ask you what kind of due diligence did you do. I got the Mpac report as per public records, right, showed it to the homeowner, and then I measured the property myself just to double check, okay? That's pretty good due diligence. Go to the next one. It gives you a lot of the same things. It gives you the floor area, but split by floor level. But the most important thing with this residential detail report is that it gives you building permit information. It dating back, I think, 15 years, up to 15 years, okay? So building permit information, floor area by floor level, along with some other information. Now, let's talk about the third and final report. Now, this report is our pride and joy. This report is being used by the big banks, is used by Genworth, is used by different energy companies, insurance guys, and realtors, appraisers, a lot of them use this. And what is it? It's called the AVM Residential Report, right? It gives you a real-time market value updated weekly. So we revalue 4.7 million properties every week instead of 4 years. This is different than the assessed value, okay? So real-time market value updated weekly, and it gives you a confidence rating out of 5 stars, okay? So this confidence rating is statistical confidence rating. So 5 stars meaning statistically speaking, we're very confident in the value. And then we give you a range what we think the value is. So the upper and lower limit. Okay, so if you've seen those, like once again the math with a lot of dots, the upper and lower limit, okay? And this is the first version. I'll show you another one. This is the same thing, gives you the same thing, but it gives you 3 comparables. Now, we've used maybe in the GTA 50, 60, 70 comparables, and we take all the data from those, right? Thousands of data points. But we will show you 3 of whatever we use. There's a minimum number of comparables we have to use. I think it's 20, or else it won't give you anything. But it shows you 3 that are physically similar. So year build and size, okay? So if they're similar to the year build and size for the subject property, they'll show you in a report, but we've used lots more other than just the 3. And why do you need this? Well, if you're a new realtor, if you're a part-time realtor, you're just starting the business, doing your CMA, it takes a little bit of time to get your CMA up to date, okay, in terms of level. So this is great set of training wheels, okay? If you're an experienced realtor, you know how to do your CMAs, you're gonna run into properties that are hard to value, and it's good to have a second opinion of value to mitigate any risk you might have. And also, I would say one of the most useful uses for this is negotiation, right? It's leverage against your own clients, unfortunately. You know, when you're in a real estate deal, you're negotiating with your own clients more than anybody else. When you list, let's just say you list for $1 million, but the client is stuck in 2017 market. They're like, oh, it's $1.3 million, right? You're listing low because you want to sell fast to get commission. Well, look, I think it's $1 million. Mpac is actually saying it's 950, right? We can do 1.1 instead if you want, but you know, 1.3 is a little too high. Also, for price reduction, it's even harder because if another agent set something too high because they wanted to get the client and it didn't sell after, like, say 80 days, right? It's really high priced. You're like, we got to drop it by 300,000 or 400,000 even, right? Like something ridiculous. Show them this. Show them your own CMA. Combine it with your CMA. Enhance your CMA, right? To negotiate with your own clients. Use it however you want, but it's just the unbiased second opinion of value. Okay? If you're a Tread member, you can go to the real store. You can get bundles. If you buy bundles, you can get discounts. I think these bundles they last. They don't expire. They last forever. But I think the actual deal with Tread, we have it for another year or so. But it's for Tread members only. If you use more than one of these reports or more than a couple, I suggest you get these. Now, questions before before the live demo on public records. It's a very quiet group. That's all right. It's 10 a.m. and I'm still asleep. All right. So let's so everybody knows how to get to here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my login is different than your login, so I'm not going to show you how to log in because it wouldn't make sense to you, or your login wouldn't make sense to me. So you know, let's go to so this is public records, right? Really good platform. We have 5 tabs here. Okay, we have 5 tabs up here. We have 5 buttons here. They're called viewports, right? And we have 2 search functions. I'm going to show you all of them. So let's start with the 5 tabs. First one, terms and conditions. Who's read terms and conditions? 100% of it, every word. No? Nobody? That's surprising. All right, so nobody likes terms and conditions, right? It's super boring. But listen, if there's like really bad weather, if it's raining outside, your clients don't want to talk to you, and you don't want to drive outside, you got nothing better to do. Spend 20 minutes, focus on this. It'll tell you what to do, what not to do. Pretty useful, you know. Privacy policy. Mpac's privacy policy, 2 lines, 10 seconds. read it at your own time really quick, right? Now, something fun. Profile. Can everybody can see, right? Okay, so profile, it's a little blurred, I apologize. So, profile. Who has their public record profile set up? Nobody. One proud lady. Okay, good. All right, your MLS profile and your public record profile is completely different, unless Trev recently changed something. They might have, I don't know. But anyways, they might have not, but doesn't matter. Profile, it takes 20 seconds to set up a profile with your beautiful professional looking photo, with your detailed contact information. The reason why you need to set this up is because the 3 reports I showed you that you pay money for, I'm going to show you 3 more reports that's free. Okay? You have 6 reports in total. These 6 reports, all of them, if you download a PDF or you print them, will have your profile along with your picture, right? Printed out. So when you're giving it to a client, when you're emailing a client, it's like attaching your business card to every single report. It's free. It takes 20 seconds. I have no idea what the reason would be not to do this right after this, okay? So let's get this set up. FAQs is just FAQs, and bulletin is just any changes made by Mpac or Trev. So let's go to the interesting stuff. I have 5 buttons here. Let's start with, they're called viewports. So I can open up to multiple viewports, right? I can open up to 6 viewports if I want to. You know, why do you need 6 viewports? Well, I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe you want to work that way, right? But you can do whatever you want. You guys pay for this system. It's here for you to use, okay? We're going to start with 1 first. This one, on the very left-hand side, it's the map viewport, okay? And what is this? This is Google Maps. It's 2019. I hope everybody knows how to use Google Maps. If you don't, Google it. 10 minutes later, everybody will be a master of Google Maps. I'm not going to waste your time showing you this, okay? Let's go to the more interesting stuff. And I just want to say, Trev, we're being recorded, right? Okay. So, Trev, very good organization. They like to make everything very small, okay? That's one annoying little thing. So, a lot of tiny icons. So, we have the layers button in the bottom right-hand side. And you have to really, be aware of where everything is. I'm going to click on layers and I have a box that shows up here, okay? This is where the more interesting stuff happens. So I'm going to start with the search function. We can search by address, roll number, or PIN number, or legal description. Most of the time we're going to use address, right? So I found the address. This is near Young and Steeles. It's in the community Willowdale East, right? It's a 2-story detached home. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to click on the first button. Parcel layer. So as soon as I click on parcel layer by assessment address, it'll show you everything split by Ontario parcel fabric, along with the actual address, okay? Very basic but essential little feature. Next one, ownership. Still split, but by PIN number now, okay? Third option, property type. This is a pretty interesting one. Yeah, so it zooms out, everything's color-coded, right? So what do these colors mean? Once again, like I said, tiny little icons you would never find. So on the top right-hand side, there's that little paint palette. I'm gonna click on it. So purple means commercial, green means residential, red is industrial, black is institutional. Look, if you have clients that hate being around churches or schools because of the traffic, right? Get away from the institutional properties. If they want to be close to dining and shopping, know what the purple properties are, right? Place like Etobicoke, right? There's a lot of industrial property, and if your clients don't like to be near those kind of things, right? Know your neighborhood, right? Especially if you're a new realtor or if you're new to an area, this is a good way of getting to know what the makeup of the neighborhood is. Very good tool to have. Anyways, let's move on. Aerial layer is just Google aerial view. Once again, I'm not going to show you this because it's too simple. You can have different points in time. You can zoom in, right? It's just an aerial satellite view, whatever you call it. Let's go to the next one. Feature layer. Feature layer, if I zoom out, it's all these yellow dots are new development happening. Okay? So if you zoom in, it'll actually take you to the plan itself, right? Let's go to Markham, Richmond Hill. What do we got? Oh, there we go. Alright, if you go to Newmarket, it's like yellow everywhere. Yeah, so these things are updated like I would say 4 to 6 months. So the construction might be done by the time you're looking at this, right? Or something might have started already, like construction's already started, but it's not on this map. So you have to wait a little bit, and you have to do a little bit of Google imaging and maybe drive by the actual development. It won't tell you what the actual development is. Okay? Also, if you have a very tiny development, like 2 houses, right, it won't show up. Like those just one-offs, it won't show up. Only large size developments, okay? Nothing advertised or proposed will be on here either, so. Let's go to community. Alright, community is really good. You gotta know your communities, right? As realtors, where the good schools are, where good shopping and dining, where the unique neighborhoods in Toronto are. I think school is one of the most important things to know. The reason is to know community, right? Where the best schools are located, especially when you're talking to a client, right? And then let's zoom out. All right, zooming out. So Trev has a monthly market watch, right? Everybody watch it. Okay, so you have monthly market watch and you have an annual report as well. You should be reading those reports as soon as it's released, within a week, okay? To know exactly what's going on in the market. So I go to Trev all the time. I meet a lot of their staff from events. Lots of smart analysts at Trev, okay, making these reports. And I'm sure they make decent salary. Who pays for their salaries? Right, everybody who's smiling in here, okay? So, look, these are amazing reports made by Trev. They're really good. It teaches you what the market is doing. I don't know why you wouldn't read this. It takes such a little amount of time, even if you're a part-time realtor, right? To know exactly what the semis, detached are doing. Oh, condos went up 2%, but detached, went down 0.1. Average days on market, maybe in C04, average days on market is 47 days, okay? Your client's house is listed for, 29, 28. Hey, don't panic. We still got 2 weeks until we even hit the average, right? Before we start thinking about any price reduction or start panicking, okay? So these things are very good. So if you see like another listing that's over the days on market, right? It's a good negotiation tool as well, right? To know exactly what's happening.
So in our realtor system, we can also have a layer.
Pardon me?
So this one is only for you, or our realtor also have a layer?
Everything I'm showing you, I wouldn't be showing you otherwise. Everything I did here, you have access to.
Oh.
Okay? You have access to. Everybody's paid for these. Like this is Strat's public records, right? You're paying your monthly dues or whatever dues are paying for this amazing platform. So Trev has done a good job with this platform, right? A lot of realtors across the province, they don't have something like this, right? They have to use Geo Warehouse, which is also good, right? But it's a different platform. You get different information. I mean, if you're not using this platform to its full potential, yeah, it's it's not great, right? So I would use it, but let's move on to the next one. This one is called, let's see, easements. All right. Let's see if we can find something. Trev is a very good organization, but okay. So here we go. For some reason, somebody decided they're gonna use yellow and highlighted yellow in a white grayish map. Okay. So when I click on easements, you see this yellow line. Okay. I'm gonna click off of it. It's really hard to see. I wish they made it in red or dark blue or something, right? But anyways, it shows you the easement. It doesn't tell you what the easement is. It doesn't tell you what the easement is, and most of the time, the easement is just hydro overhead, or like storm drains underground, or it's just a trail in the back of the house, right? Or like sometimes you have 2 houses to get to a park. You have to go through the 2 houses. That's an easement. Okay, so it'll show you something like that. It won't tell you what the easement is. You got to do Google imaging or drive by the property or ask the homeowner. Most of the time it's nothing, right? But if you do need to know, I think there's a $40 report you can get in Geo Warehouse. I could yeah, but it gives you some other information as well if you want to know what the actual easement is. Okay, so anyways, let's move on. Just very basic feature. Let's go to the next button, the next viewport. So if we want to change within the map without opening a new window, I'm going to click on this red ball. Alright, and this is, this is same as Google Street View, but it's called iLook About Street View. I'm going to open 2 windows now. I'm going to click on the outside, I'm going to open 2 windows, and I want everybody to focus on this side, okay? So, in Google Maps, right, there's that little person, right? The little person, you can drag the little person anywhere, and then you can, put him or her in an intersection, right? And then the person will get lost. You don't know which way you're looking at, okay? So, you see that camera? There's that camera button? Okay, very top. I'm going to click on the camera button, and look what happens to the map. Okay, it's highlighted yellow. For those of you with the light on in the back, I don't know if you can see, but I can be creative, and I can turn the parcel layer on with the address. Right? You can get a better perspective. Of course, it's in highlighted yellow, like everything on this map. All right, shout out to my friends at Trev. Alright, so that's a good little feature. These features, a lot of them you can combine together. So be creative. I'm just telling you what you can do, but what you need to do, what you want to do, you can be creative and do whatever, right? You can have different date, point in time, right, on the street to see what the property looked like as well. Just like normal Google Street View. And a good thing is that if there's development happening for a property, sometimes Google will update this, like say June of 2015. Right? But iLook About will do it September, right? So you have 2 different views on the same year. So you can use both map if you want to, both map imaging if you want to. Let's go to the next one, this green camera, okay? It tells you what the street looked like. It's just in pictures. It's just picture saved. You can do this on the Street View as well. You don't need to open this window, but it's just, this is what the window is. It's a photo archive. You see there's the property, 2011, 2015, redevelopment, completed in 2016, right? And you can see what it looked like before. But yeah, once again, you can do it on the actual street image as well. So before I move on, let's generate our first report, okay? So these are free reports that you can generate from public records, and it's 1 of 3. It's my least favorite, but still decent. Include agent information with photo. Now, this is called the photo-only report. Photo-only report, and it generates a PDF. My picture, your picture, it actually fits a lot better. I just didn't adjust it, right? But you can adjust it to fit a lot better. Probably better looking photo as well. And you have all your contact information here attached to real estate stats and report. And here you see nice little essential feature. We have street view, parcel view, satellite view, aerial view. Nice little essential report to have to show your clients, okay? This is first 1 of 3 reports. It's my least favorite. I still like it. I just think the other 2 are much better. Let's go to this calendar here. You see this calendar? All right, I'm gonna click on it. This is it's a search history editor. All right, you want to delete stuff you don't want to work on anymore, you can delete stuff. And also you can click on different reports and then go to different viewports for certain properties that you want to look at, right? So if you're working on different properties and you want to just clear everything up, just an organization tool. But when we do the comparable search, what I'm going to show you later, this is going to be pretty useful when we do that. So I'll come back to this viewport. This is called a results viewport, okay? Other than that, it's just a search history editor for now. Before I move on, I just want to say, University of Stanford did this study where the modern human being, right, with our cell phones and computers, within 2 hours we can only retain up to 3 pieces of new information, right? So by the time you wake up tomorrow, you probably forget my name, my face, and like 80% of what I just taught you. But try to find a few things that speaks to you that you were really interested in, and all the features I showed you, right? You gotta go home and practice them. For a listing for a CMA, if you don't use these things, right, you're gonna lose, you're not gonna learn it, but you use it for one CMA, one listing, right? You're gonna use it forever, right? So what does Picasso say? Picasso said, knowing is not enough, we must apply. So apply all the tools to whatever your work is, okay? So with that said, if you're gonna remember one thing from this entire presentation, which I hope you remember more, but if you're gonna remember one thing, let's go to this next viewport. I would say it's the most important viewport of all the viewports, okay? So I'm gonna click on this house right now, and this is called a property. It's a blank page, very important, no information. Excellent. This computer does not give me face at all. Alright, let's refresh. I gotta do the speech again, sorry. Okay, there we go. We got it. Alright, so this is property detail information, detail page, okay? So what do you get? You get property description, long legal description, short legal description, last sales price, last sales date, right? Year built, frontage, depth, side size, and remember when I say you need to calculate property tax, you need to find the phase-in value. Instead of doing that crazy whatever formula we have, just find the red number, okay? Whatever the red number is, you're in 2019, it's highlighted in red. Google City of Toronto property tax rate 2019. You get that, you get two numbers, you get your property tax, okay? All right? Every single time. You can't go wrong. And we have some quick links on the side for our reports if you need to add to the cart. And if you bought the bundle, it actually just deducts it as a credit, so you don't have to put your information in every single time. Now, we have 3 tabs here, okay? We're gonna go through these 3 tabs, and at the end, we're gonna generate our second free report, okay? Next tab, enhanced tab, number of beds, number of bath, fireplace, garage type, driveway, pool, right? More information available to you. TREB MLS history, sales date, sales price, MLS number. So for your own account, on public record, you can actually click on the MLS number and it'll take you to that listing directly, okay? So next one, demographics. You know, it's really good, you know, the total population, medium income, age, right? Household makeup, language spoken, ethnicity, types of property in the neighborhood, like apartments, number of semis, number of townhouses, right? And it gives you really pretty graphs and charts, okay? And we can generate our second free report, okay? And to do that, we're gonna click on this PDR button, okay? See that PDR? That orange little square? I'm gonna click on this and I'm gonna select all the options I have. I'm gonna click report and it generates our second free report. Once again, photo on the top. All the information here available for you to see and to email your clients to print it out. Look, I'm not going to tell you like, just not speaking from a realtor perspective, but just speaking because I have no experience as a realtor, right? But just speaking from a sales and from a client's point of view, right? When you're prospecting a client, when you're talking to a client, right? Hey Max, you know, you want me to sell your house or something, right? Let's go for coffee, let's talk, right? When you go for coffee, yeah, you can dress nice and you can be really polite, right? But having some reports available, 3 reports in a nice little folder that costs you like maybe 15 cents if you get from Costco's, right? You give them 1 report at a time, tell them about the property, give them the second report, tell them more information about the property, third report, tell them more about the property, right? That makes a huge difference from a client's perspective versus just, hey, you know what, I've been doing this for 5-10 years or something. Here's a coffee, here's lunch, you know, let me sell your house, right? This is a lot of, it looks like it's a lot of work, but it actually only took you 10 minutes to not just print this, to read it, right? You have something tangible in your hand and you're bringing it to a client. So I was on vacation last year and I was in China, and then there was this young man that was shining shoes, okay? And I was walking by, it was like a small town, a lot of tourists, right? And he's like, sir, can I shine your shoes? And I said, oh, it's okay, forget it, I don't want you to shine my shoes. But they started, no, don't worry, it's free. Started shining, and I was like, okay, well, go ahead, right? Started shining, and then did a really good job. And then after the shine, I was like, oh, how much do I owe you? Oh, it's free, I shine for free. By the way, do you want to buy a pack of shoe shine oil? And I'm like, oh man, I'll buy 2 packs, right? Like I'm a sucker. But you know what I mean? You're already psychologically, like joking aside, from a sales perspective, psychologically doing something for your client, showing them your initiative, showing them your hard work and your professionalism, and bringing something tangible to coffee, to lunch, makes a huge difference, right? So, anyways, do whatever you want with these reports. It's just one instance. Yeah.
May I ask for those residential property, the easement, I know will show in the description, will also show on those maps as well?
So, the easement I showed you, like that little feature, it'll show on the map, right?
Yeah.
But you're saying on this thing?
Yeah, for specific
No,
residential
it won't show you on the map, like the report you're talking about, right? But what you can do is you can find the easement, and then you can print out the map, and then you can take a marker and literally, I'm not kidding, you can just draw in it. Tell the client this is where, you know, when you're talking to them, look, good example, right? Look, here's a photo only report. By the way, you see this area, there's an easement here. Most likely I did a little Google Street View. It's a trail path, right? If you want to do runs, if you want to run, if you want to have kids, they want to ride bikes, right? Good to have. Or if you see hydro, look, this house is good price, but there's hydro. I just need you to know that there's huge hydro lines, right? So draw that and talk while you do it. That's why I'm saying, look at the report, look at the property for 10 minutes before you go see the client, right? Like to get more information, right?
You cannot based on the map to see there's a easement or not. It has to be based on the description.
No, you can see it. I showed you on the map, remember? Like the,
Yeah, but that was on the green land, like for like a public area.
oh, you're talking about like,
Yeah, specific actually the residential.
yeah, it'll show you if there's two houses.
Okay.
If there's two houses, that was just because it was in the green area because it was a trail in the park,
Yeah.
right? That's the only reason when it's green, right? But if it's like between two houses, it'll give you one little very short lines.
Also
Right?
like a,
There's going to be different easements for different areas, right? So you just gotta. That's why I said you gotta look, and then you gotta do a little Google Street image or drive, right? To drive by to see what the actual easement is. Yeah. So, anyways, this is report number 2. It's called the PDR report. Let's go to the last portion of the presentation, and I'm going to do comparable search. I'm going to click on comparable search. Treb community, Mpac neighborhood, or custom boundary, okay? I'm not going to show you Treb community, I'm not going to show you Mpac neighborhoods. The reason why is because they're predefined already. They're already rectangles or whatever shapes already set. They're predefined. So I'm going to show you something more interesting, custom boundary. I'm going to, subject property, select, I'm going to click select boundary, and a new tab will show up at the very top, okay? These are just shapes and sizes, different shapes and sizes. Rectangle, square, circle. If you're not a circle person, you can use a rectangle if you get offended by circles, okay? So, you see on the side, I know it's a little blurry, okay? Here's all the criteria is on the side. And it says, look, you're searching for residential, but there's like commercial and industrial as well. You have single family, detached, semis, residential, link homes, right? Co-op homes. There's more, but it defaults to what the subject is. Alright, and it has 1 to 10 years, age of dwelling 1 to 10 years, floor area, there's a 500 increment range, right? 3,000 to 3,500, 35 to, I think it goes up to 1 million. And this thing goes up to 490 years to 500 years. If you can find a property with that, you actually win a prize at Mpac. And then, no, that's a lie, that's just a joke. There's no prize. Bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 2-story, right? We're searching an area based off the criteria. Now, remember, this is not recent sales. This is just every single property in Ontario since the beginning of time. Okay? So 5 million something properties on this map you search for, okay, if you want to. So, we'll start a search. I'm going to go to Polygon because it's one of my favorite ones. And why do you need a, excuse me, why do you need a custom boundary, okay? One of the most common things that I've been told is school district, right? You gotta be south of Steeles, north of McNichol, east of Bayview, west of Yonge or something. Or that doesn't make sense actually, west of Yonge. East of Yonge, west of Bayview, okay? Something like that, right? To be within a certain district. Or another gentleman from another home life actually told me that he has developers as clients, okay? And what he does is he finds all the older side splits, back splits, bungalows in the area that, you know, and then he finds all of them and then he starts door knocking. He just starts door knocking, leaving behind his business card. You know, that's one of the, another way you can use it. but it's up to you how you want to use this. Once again, we're just showing you the capability of what's available, right? So let's start drawing our custom boundaries. So let's say we want to be south of Steeles. I want to be here. Oh, but there's a school. Maybe I want to get away from the traffic or something. I don't know. And then go back. And then here, 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 and all right. I'll draw something like that for example, because I want to. I don't know why you would draw this, but let's just click OK. All right. We have this area. It's in here, and we're gonna click search on the very bottom here. We have search. And when we search, it can find up to 100 properties. If you find 100, that means that your criteria is probably too broad. You can narrow your criteria range, or your search area is too large, okay? So, alright, so we found 19 comparables, okay? We have it here all labeled out, and what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that, remember that calendar I said where it's a search history editor? We go back to that calendar and all of our comparables are here. We can select all of them or only select the ones we want. Let's select everything. I can sort this by price, I can sort this by assessed value or sales date. A lot of 2017 sales for this area, right? So you can have it here, and this includes private sales, non-MLS sales, because we get it from land registries, okay? So, with that said, we're going to generate our third and final free report, okay? RCR button. We're going to click on the RCR button, and agent profile, report. All right? As soon as I start talking, it will generate. Oh, it didn't work. It usually works like that. Yeah, my friend, we have like this. I think my computer is really bored during my presentation. Okay, so look, photo once again, nice little report, right? It shows you all the 19 comparables we have. The photos are there, year build, number of beds, number of bath, assessed value, last sales date, last sales price, right? Nice essential information. Once again, take this to your client, show it off, email, do whatever you want. Also another thing, these reports, right? In the summertime, I have this, I don't want to say weird hobby, but it's an odd hobby, I guess. I go to, every other weekend, I will go to an open house, just for fun. I will go to an open house, I'm not kidding. It's really sad. I go to open house just for fun, and honestly, when I walk in, the way you greet me, the way you're dressed, the way staging is done, do you have a leads list? Do you have a leads list on the side to fill in my contact info, right? Do you have materials for other realtors and for potential clients that want to buy, right? These things are all advertisement for yourselves while serving your clients. You're providing the best service for your client, and you're advertising the heck out of yourself as a realtor, right? I might not be in the market, right? I might not be in the market, but I have cousins, I have friends, I have mom, dad, coworkers that are in the market now, right? I can refer. I said, I know this really great realtor, right? Killer open house. Right? And a year from now, 2 years from now, since you have my contact info from the leads list, hey, do you want some free real estate reports? Even if you're not buying, it's good to know what's going on. Sure. Merry Christmas. This is how your house is doing. Happy Chinese New Year's. Here's 3 reports you can look at. 2 years later, oh, I'm in the market. You want to sell my house for me? Sure. Why not? Let's go, right? So I'm just speaking purely from a client's perspective. These little things all really add up, and it really impresses clients. And there's also many ways you can get clients, right? But I'm just saying these are some of the things you can do, and it's up to you. Everybody's better at this than I. I'm just speaking purely as a client, right? I'm sure everybody's an excellent realtor. With that said, third and final report, PDF, print, email, do whatever you want. Finally, let's say hi to my boss. You click on the $ to make money, So here we have 23 reports. Do whatever you look at it your own time. If you have clients that are interested in commercial, multi-res, farm, we have multiple reports for that. Most of the time, the 3 reports I showed you, 98% of all realtor purchases, those 3 reports, okay? I'm not gonna waste your time looking at the other stuff. Bundles, once again, do not expire. You can use 2 this year, 2 5 years from now, 2 10 years from now. You know, they do not expire until one day maybe like the robots take over Earth, and then yeah, they probably will expire at that point. Let's click on view your reports. If you have 1,000 reports, if you purchase 1,000, the oldest one gets kicked out, the newest one comes in, okay? You can click on it by clicking the eyeball here. It will generate a PDF. You can go back and find these reports if you want. And it's tax season. What do? We do write-offs, right? I click on receipt. Your receipt is here. Write everything off that is legally possible, okay? And it's really nice to have the receipts as a little feature on the side. Now, I can do a couple of demonstrations of our AVM and how it works to provide market value. So so it takes about $35 to look at this, 27 to 35 depending on which report, but I'll give you a free demo. Who has a listing right now, or they want to do a listing, or they're interested in the value of their own homes, like if they're curious about the value of their own home? Yeah, okay. Give me an address. Yeah. 108? Yeah. Sorry. 40? Golding. Is this Golding? Is it this one? Crescent address, Avenue, Lane? Avenue? Okay, did you list this? How much did you list for? Oh, you don't want to tell us how much you listed for. All right, it's okay. All right. Oh, some people don't want to. I should make it a rule. If you want to see the report, you gotta tell us what you listed for. But it's okay. I won't give you a hard time. All right. So 2.3. What'd you list? 5.6. Pardon me? 2.7. Now, interesting. So did they do anything to the property before?
I compared to the CMA around there.
Yeah. So did they do any renovations? Did they renovate the house before they sold? No, it's already renovated. So it's interesting. So we said it's 2.3. You listed for 2.7. See the range here? 2 million to 2.5, which is a high range actually, quite high, right? Quite high. It's actually more than 10% plus or minus, right? But you see the star rating, it's only 4 stars. It's not 5 stars, meaning there aren't too many, like there aren't too many sales in the area. Where is this? That sounds really familiar. But there aren't too many, pardon me? Young and Finch? Oh, that's where the Toronto office is for us. Okay, yeah, I know that area. So 4 stars, probably not as many sold with that at this price, right? So you will have a little bit harder time with your CMA, right? And we will have a little bit harder time with our algorithm, right? But this is the range, and you can play around with the range. You're at 2.3, you list it for 2.7, we go up to all the way to 2.6, right? So if you don't sell, what's the average days on market in Willowdale East right now? So this is in Willowdale East, right? It's north of Finch or south?
Yes.
Is it north of Finch?
North of Finch.
Yeah, so average days on market, it's the Willowdale East, right? That's the community. If you find out the average days on market, and then
I compared with the others, the private legal and suspend and terminate and again.
yeah,
6.5 years under one property sold.
right. So especially with these high value properties, you got to be extra careful with your CMA. It's been on 90 days. You're
No,
this.
right now it's not.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
in 2 weeks.
Okay, so maybe after it does hit 90 days, maybe you should, drop it a bit, right? So I hope it doesn't. I hope you sell the house, right? I hope you sell the house. But anyways, give me one more. I'll do one more. Yeah.
Number 3,
Yeah.
Tortilla Street, Tortia Street.
Street. Or yeah. Can you tell me what you listed for?
Not yet, going to be.
Okay. What do you think?
1.3.
1.3. All right. Let's try this different report. 1.3. Let's see. Gentleman says 1.3. Machine says, hey. But you see this? Yeah. Okay. It's because you see this one's 5 stars, it's a little easier, right? So when you have a 3, so somebody was telling me, hey, I got a 3-star report, can I get a refund, right? Well, first of all, no, you can't get a refund. And the thing is, when you get a 3-star report from Mpac, meaning the banks, they use the ABMs, they're getting a 3-star report. The appraisers are having a very hard time. They buy our reports as well. They're having a hard time with their CMA, and they need, it's not their CMA, their valuation, and they need this report. If it's all 3 stars, they need like maybe 2 or 3, maybe even 3 opinions. I was just at Harvey Kellis, and this gentleman got appraisal for 11 million. He wants to list for 9.9. The client wants 15. Okay, and Mpac said it was like 10. So it was like, you know, probably on the lower end, right? So you can see 5 stars. This is the range is a lot closer, right? 1.3, pretty good job. And oh, by the way, hey, if you have permits, I'm on camera, damn it. Okay, so if you have permits that, like, there's maybe a couple of people in Toronto that actually gets permits out of like 6 million people. Maybe there's like 2 or 3. If you don't have a permit for your renovation, if your client didn't get a permit, right, you got to add that for renovations before you sell. You got to add that value to it. If you spend $100,000 on permit on renovation and you didn't get a permit, you got to add it to that value, because we wouldn't have it, because the only way we update any real estate information is if we have any permits, we have all the permits, we have all the sales, we have access to sales and any lease listings or leases that you might do for clients, right? And then we'll do random data updates. Other than that, if we knock on your door and you don't want us to come in, you did a rental, you have the right to refuse us as homeowners and taxpayers, right? So we wouldn't have that information. So remember this. This is a really powerful real estate tool, but end of the day, it does not replace you. You have the expertise, you have the professionalism, and you're adding lots of knowledge and due diligence to this as well. Okay, so I see a lot of familiar faces from the previous Realtor Quest. So hello to, for somebody in the back especially. 2019 Realtor Quest, we have a booth. It's end of May. If you have a chance, please visit our booth to win some prizes and just to say hi. I hope everybody learned something. I know it's a lot of information, but you know, one thing at a time, right? Will always help us in the long run. That's the